Welcome back to my channel if you are returning. Welcome if this is your first time as well. We are all welcome here. Today I'm going to be playing my June TBR Bingo game. So every single month to pick my TBR, I play bingo, which is where I pick cards that fill in the board, and each card has a prompt on it, and each prompt gives me directions into picking a book. If I read that book, I get to pull the card off. If I get a whole bingo, then I get to buy a book. As you can see from last month, I didn't do so hot. May was another really weird month for me, but now is the time to move on and move past it. Really quickly, I am going to start playing bingo, not necessarily from month begins to month ends, but I am going to start playing it from the time I play bingo with you all on camera until the next time I play. So actually, like today, it is May 22nd, and I'm going to be starting June's bingo as soon as this video is over. Now, with that, I was thinking that I was going to start doing that in April leading into May, but something happened where I didn't think properly, and I knew that these two books, which were going to be buddy read / book club picks, were going to be read the last week of the month. Now, I do have both of them here. I have started one of them, and I am partially through, and I'm starting this one this weekend. So I will be finishing both of them in the month of May, but they're going to be part of June's bingo board. So because of that, I'm gonna leave them on the board. Everything else will get cleared right now though. So this is what a brand new board sometimes looks like. It still has 2 books on it, so it's not quite brand new. This week, the reason why we are at my desk playing TBR Bingo is because I thought it would be fun to try something slightly different. Stick with me. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm still gonna be picking prompts and then picking books based on those prompts. But instead of me picking prompts, going finding a book, picking prompts, going and finding a book, I'm going to pick all of the prompts for a specific category, and then we're going to find the books together, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes panic that happens to me every single time I play this game. I thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be chaotic. If you like this way better than the other one, let me know. If you prefer the other one, let me know. I don't have an opinion yet, as I haven't figured out how bad this is going to be. We already have 2 books up on the board. I only had 2 bingos last month, but I ended up buying 4 books that month. You're gonna get to see all the details of that in my wrap up, which will be coming out next Friday, so stay tuned for that. But that means that I do have to take a punishment. Now, I've been running through a few different punishments that I have created over the last few months, and I'm going to have to make some rules and a video about them and talk to you guys about them in the future. I do have to take a punishment for every single book that I buy that I didn't have a bingo for. So that means I have to take 2 punishments this month. And I decided to use the same punishment for both of them, which is simply I have 2 books on my paused shelf, and they are going to get to take the place of books that I or my book club would get to pick. So that means that if I have a book club pick, I have to fit it in somewhere else, or I have a buddy read, it has to fit in somewhere else besides those 2 slots. So I should probably explain really quickly. First off, the green squares are library books, the blue squares are owned not read, yellow squares are books that I don't get to pick but other people pick for me. So book club picks, buddy reads, I hold those in high priority, so I want to make sure they get on my board every single month and count for something. The absolute middle square is the book that I am most excited to read this month, although this month it's rolling over from last month, so don't really get to pick that one either. And the white squares minus the center one are ones that I get to reveal as the month goes on, so it allows me to have some flexibility with my shelf. So these are all of the books that were picked for me / are my punishment books. So we already saw The Ruin of Kings. That is my book club's pick for May. I am reading it this coming week. We already saw A Court of Silver Flames. That is a buddy read that I am reading the last week of May. My buddy read for this month with my friends is going to be A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy. I'm really excited to be getting to that one. And then my 2 punishment picks are both Malice and Red Sister. These are both books that I started in previous months and absolutely loved them, but just didn't have the time for them. Maybe wasn't wasn't in the mood for them at the time, and so I put them on my paused shelf. I'm trying to clear that shelf, so these are the last two on it right now. I think it was appropriate that they made it on this board. Of course, I don't get punished if I don't read the books that are on this board. I only get punished if I buy more books than I end up reading bingos wise. Now let's start picking some prompts. So this is my old deck and this is my new deck. They are exactly the same. I've just kept them separate until this exact moment, and I'm going to start mixing them now. If you watched last month's video, you know that I was getting a little bit bored with some of my prompts and I just wanted a little bit more of a mix-up. So I bought a second set of cards, and I am going to be playing with 100 prompts now instead of 50, just to have some variation and some variety. And last month I played with only the new cards, but this month I am going to be playing with all of my cards. Okay, so I'm only gonna hold about this many for right now. The first thing that I need to do is pick the 8 prompts that go into the unknown slots for right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So if you watch my weekly vlogs, you will get to see those revealed as the month goes on, and basically I get to reveal them if I read a book that is touching them on one side or another. Now, like I said, what I'm gonna do first off is I am going to pick 4 library books. We're gonna put them in. You're gonna get to see the chaos of me trying to choose 4 library books to fit those prompts. Then we're gonna pick the 8 owned books, and you're gonna get to see the chaos of me trying to pick 8 books that I own to read. So I'm going to shuffle in some other cards from the big pile, and now I'm going to pick 4, and we will reveal them one at a time. So the first one up is video book. It's pretty easy. It's just a book that I'm planning on doing a video for. It doesn't necessarily have to be a secret TBR, but it's not going to be like a weekly reading vlog. Next is metallic on the cover. Okay, that's gonna be interesting with library choices. Next, blindfolded. Oh, how am I gonna do that with a library book? And next we're going to do, oh my God, no. Oh, I thought it said more than 1,000 pages. No, more than 1,000 reviews. So I mostly look at Goodreads, so I would just need to pick a book that has more than 1,000 reviews, not ratings, reviews on Goodreads. These are all going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so I got my iPad here. I use the Libby app, and I do have 2 libraries. Now this only gives me access to whatever is online through my libraries. So I do know that the library that I have here in my hometown that I can actually physically get to has a lot more options. So sometimes if I can't find something on the online database, I will go to the physical library and try and find something. But let's see what we can make work. The thing I do every single month is I have like a list of about 10 books that I really want to read this month. And you've already gotten to see me divide up a few of them onto the board. So there's always a few on the side that I just absolutely want to get to and be super bummed if I didn't. And I try to make them work into TBR Bingo as best as possible. So the only book I have on that list that is a library book is A Court of Frost and Starlight. So I have kind of searched it on the Googles, and it appears to me the actual photos of people holding the book, it is a metallic cover. So I'm going to use it for metallic cover. First book picked, pretty simple. A Court of Frost and Starlight is the novella that takes place after A Court of Wings and Ruins, but before A Court of Silver Flames. I am going to be reading them out of order because I've heard you don't really need to read the novella, and I'm not a huge fan of novellas. The only reason why I chose this book is because my book club is actually going to be doing a month-long readathon, and it was one of the few books that I could get access to that would fit a certain prompt. So the next thing I'm going to do is in my Libby app, I have a wish list tag, and in it I just add every single book that I see when I'm scrolling through my library app. You know, when I'm bored, I often just scroll through it, and I just add a bunch of books. I'm going to actually do the blindfold challenge because then I can just pick at random and I don't have to worry about the other 2 being picked when I scroll. So let me go get blindfold. Okay, so I'm going to stick it here for now, but this is one of those like blackout eye masks, so I can't see a single thing as soon as I put it on. In fact, I hope I'll be in the shot for this, but I am in my wish list tag. So there are, I think, like 160 books in here. The only way that I will say no to a book that I blindfold pick, I'm just scrolling so I get all of them loaded, is if the book has such a long hold on it that I wouldn't be able to read it this month, or if it's a sequel to something that I haven't read up to where I need to read for it. So anything else, it'll be the book I pick for this one. Put the blindfold on. I cannot see a thing, so this is a really good time for you guys to come into the video and scare me. And I'm going to scroll up a little, down a little, up, down, up, down, up, down, and up one more time. And I'm gonna pick this book right here. Okay, I'm kind of in the middle of two books, but I'm in between. I picked like right on the line of Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell and Black Girl Unlimited. Now, Then She Was Gone has a pretty long weight on it, but Black Girl Unlimited has no weight on it. So I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I'm just going to borrow it right now. I do not know what this book is about. I think I put it on my list because someone probably recommended it to me at some point. But let's see what the library has to say about this. Heavily autobiographical and influenced with magical realism, Black Girl Unlimited fearlessly explores the intersection of poverty, sexual violence, depression, racism, and sexism, all through the arc of a transcendent coming-of-age story for fans of Renee Watson's Pierce Me Together and Iba Zuboy's American Street. Echo Brown is a wizard from the East Side, where apartments are small and parents suffer addictions to the white rocks. Yet there is magic everywhere. New portals begin to open when Echo transfers to the rich school on the West Side, and an insightful teacher becomes a pivotal mentor. So it sounds really good, actually. I think I kind of remember someone recommending this to me now because I'm really into weird YA contemporary magical realism. But I think the reason why I haven't picked this book up ever previously is because it's hard to find that line between contemporary urban fantasy and YA contemporary magical realism, and one of those categories I love and one of those categories I can't stand. So the next two that I need to pick for are video book and more than 1,000 reviews on Goodreads. So for video book, that's pretty simple. I actually have a few videos that are coming out over the next 3 to 4 months that I really need to be reading. Oh, I knocked you. Apologies. I'm so sorry. I don't know when I did that. That I really need to be reading for. So I know that I have some lists here. Let me go see. So for my secret TBRs, there are quite a few books that I need to get through. I'm not feeling particularly pulled towards any of them over the other ones. So I think I'm gonna search this one and see if it has more than 1,000 reviews. And if it does, I'm gonna use it for that. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna use it for this one because I'm just kind of picking at random. Yeah, it does. It has a lot. So I am going to be reading Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This is a reread. It is for a video that probably won't be out for a really long time, but I'm excited to be reading it again because I'm super curious to know how my opinion is going to change about this book. This book is a YA dystopian novel about this society where girls and boys are raised completely separate, and I don't exactly remember the plot of it at all, but that's really what you need to know with YA dystopian, right? Like one key factor. So I'm going to read that for more than 1,000 reviews. The final book that I'm going to be, wow, the lights are really going on my face. We're just going to leave it for now. The final book that I'm going to be adding for library books is going to be The Library of the Unwritten. It actually has the word library in the title. And this is a book that I've been meaning to get to for a while. You will definitely see this secret TBR in July. I have it pretty close to done, but I need to finish up this book and like a few others just to get it out there to you. So this will be a perfect one to add to the list, and my library has it available, so I will check it out right now. I am not gonna go into what this book is about because last time I tried to do it, it failed, and I can't remember if what I'm thinking about right now is the failure or if it is what was actually correct. I'm too lazy to check. Now we are going to do my owned books, and okay, this is starting to, I can't do this anymore. Well, we lose a lot of our light that way, but I cannot look at my face with all those lines across it. So now we're going to do my owned, I keep hitting the table, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Now we're going to do my owned books. So what I'll do is very simply the same thing. I'm going to shuffle through, I'm going to shuffle through these cards. I'm going to pick 8 of them. We're going to put them up on the board, and then I'll walk you through kind of the process I go through of picking them. This should be a little bit more interesting because we will have to run around my room trying to find things. I do have 4 books that I absolutely really want to get to this month, and then I have a select few others that I really should get to this month. We're going to pick 8. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pick from a different area now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. I have so many cards now. It's great. I really like the new prompts. They excite me. They're fun. Let's put them on the board before I regret anything, because I'm sure I'm going to regret it in about 2 seconds. We have ship on cover. Do I have a book with a ship on the cover? We're gonna have to do some checking on that. If I don't have a book, if I don't own something that fits one of these prompts, I am just gonna redo it with you all. So let's put this up here, because I'm not going to buy books just to fit the prompts. Next, biggest book, of course. Of course. I'll have to, I mean, I can't read Rhythm of War yet, so it'll have to be something else. Next, Moon on cover. Fun. Why are these a lot of cover books? Book Everywhere. I already know what I'm picking for that. Previously Dropped. I already know what I'm picking for that too. Oh, okay. Those two work out perfectly. Next is 6-word title. 6+ word title. So we can have 6, 7, or any of number after that, but it has to have at least 6 words in the title, not including the author's name, of course. Next, we have Out of My Comfort Zone. I don't really buy books out of my comfort zone. That one might have to swap. We'll see what I have. And then red cover. I know what that one's gonna be too. Okay, so I have my stack here of the 4 books I really need to get to this month. And they are Realmbreaker, Empire of Sand from Blood and Ash, and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. So I am buddy reading From Blood and Ash with some friends. I am getting the book, so we're all like annotating a copy of the same book, and I'm supposed to get that copy at the end of this month. So I am gonna just read it for this June section, because it should be to me the 3rd week, I think my friend said. I am going to be needing to read that, and then the final week, if I can fit it, I am going to be reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, but that might have to go on to July's TBR Bingo. I will have to see how that works out. I am figuring this whole entire not whole month thing out with you all. But first off, I can say that Book Everywhere, I'm going to be reading Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. I did spray my edges the other day, and I really like how they turned out because they're very metallic-y and shiny. This book, I got nothing. I don't know what it's about. I bought it because it's Victoria Aveyard and it's really pretty, and I think I heard it's going to be like a little bit more mature than Red Queen, but I might be making that up, so don't take my word for it. I really enjoyed the first book in Red Queen, but not so much the later ones at all. So I'm hoping that even if I dislike this series, I'll still enjoy book 1. So let's see what A Strange Darkness is Growing in the Ward. Even Coriane? Coriane. I don't know how to say that name. Coriane can feel it tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. Fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical immortal and a lethal assassin who tells this name that I cannot pronounce that she is the last of an ancient lineage from the power to save the world from destruction. So there's more going on, but already we kind of got that that simple basic trope of like a YA fantasy chosen one story, but I think that it is like a found family book. So I'm really excited to be getting to that, and we can knock Book Everywhere off of my list, and I can take 1 off of my stack that I need to read. I just realized that the back is a person and that their arm is like reaching across. Red cover, I'm going to be reading Empire of Sand. This is a very red cover. Now that I've lost my light, I don't know how well you can see that it's very red, but it's very red. This is an arranged marriage story. I heard that and I bought it. I've been pushing this book off for years. I've been really wanting to get to it, but I just had heard some bad things about it, so I never picked it up. And then when I heard that it was an arranged marriage story, after reading A Winter's Promise, I was like, give it to me. And it's a duology, so I'm really excited to be getting to this one because hopefully, you know, the sequel will also be great. So there's those 2. For previously dropped, I'm going to be reading The Last Mortal Bond by Brian Staveley. It's really simple. It's a book that I have on my monthly challenge. I need to be getting to it. I keep dropping it, but I am so in the mood for it now that I'm like done dropping it off of my TBR. We're going to be picking it up. I'm going to be reading it. The first book is about these 3 adult siblings who their father is the emperor and the father is assassinated, and it's kind of like this power struggle, decision making. The 3 of them are like all separate across this land, but they're kind of trying to come together to figure out who is the rightful next in line. And one of them was training in politics, one of them was training to be a monk, and one of them was training to be a soldier. So it's very fascinating, very dark adult fantasy, very grim. I'm loving the books though, but the third one keeps getting pushed off just because of how long it is. I just never seem to have time to pick it up, but I'm putting it on 2 TBRs this month, so I have to pick it up. Next for, okay, so I still have Ship on the Cover, Biggest Book, Moon on the Cover, 6+ Words, and Out of My Comfort Zone. So the one I know 1000% I can do is Biggest Book. That's pretty simple. We just need to go to Goodreads and go to my owned shelf and figure out what is the longest book I have on there. So I have 26 books currently on my owned shelf. I think Rhythm of War is technically the longest. I'm not reading Rhythm of War. Let's see. Number of pages. Cool, so there is a way to do that. So that I have it the wrong way. So let's see what pops up. It's gonna be Rhythm of War at the top. I'm not reading that. Yep. So it's Rhythm of War at the top, and the next one is Seraphil's Hand, which is technically 2 books in one. Yeah, I'm gonna count it. So this is a book I've had on my TBR for a while now, and I've had my eye on it for even longer. I don't think I've ever heard someone reading it, but Audible like kept recommending it to me so much that one day it went on sale and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get it. And the magical world just sounds fantastic. So let me read that to you. 300 years after the genocidal Adept Wars, the realm is dying and the blessed Adept race dies with it. One man holds the secret to reverting this decline. Jorn van Gelderan. Why am I stuck with these names that are hard to say? A dangerous and enigmatic man whose shocking betrayal 3 centuries past earned him a traitor's brand. I don't know where it is. I remember reading about this world's magic system and being really interested in it, but the Goodreads blurb doesn't have it. So I'm going to read that for Biggest Book. I do have the audiobook, so that's how I'll be consuming it, and that'll be great because I would rather read a long book by audio than physically anyways. So that leaves us with Ship on the Cover, Moon on the Cover, 6+ Words, or Out of My Comfort Zone. So let's look for 6+ Words because that's really easy. I'll know whether or not I have it. I have 1 so far. Wait a second. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ha! Kingdom of Flesh and Fire fits. Okay, heck yeah, I'm reading a Kingdom of Flesh and Fire for 6+ Words. I don't think this has like a moon anywhere on the cover. That would be the only thing that would stop me. I don't know what this book is about. I know what From Blood and Ash is about, but I haven't looked into what the sequel is about. So I will tell you what From Blood and Ash is about if it makes it on this TBR, but this is the sequel to that and I'm hoping to be reading it and I'm really glad that it made it on this list. So Moon on the Cover and Ship on the Cover are both going to be pretty simple. So the only thing that's going to stop me from reading those is if they are a sequel to a book that I haven't read yet, right? So let's start first with Ship on the Cover, and I meant like sailing ship, not like spaceship. I don't even think I own any books with spaceships on them, to be honest. There's one, but it's a sequel to a book I haven't read yet, so I can't read it. I only have the one, so Ship on the Cover is going to have to be reselected, unfortunately. Get that out of there. I'm not going to take it out of my shuffle because it's still valid for library books, so it could work on either a green or a white tile. So it'll just get reshuffled back in, and if it comes back up on my own shelf, I know to remove it. Find Moon on the Cover first, and then we'll go back and repick these ones. I did see, as I was scrolling through, quite a few. Let's go to my shelf really quickly. So this is my TBR shelf, and you can't see it totally because the light of how it's hitting. So these are just the physical ones I own, and I'm really hoping that this book has a moon. It does. So I'm going to be reading Witches of Ash and Ruin for this prompt. I know I have a few, and I have a few arcs. Maybe I should look at my ARC pile. Okay, let's go look at my ARC pile. Now, I'm not cool enough to get any of my ARCs physically sent to me yet, so they are all ebooks, so I'm going to have to look at my iPad to see if any of them have a moon on the cover, but I'm really hoping that one of them does because, crap, I was hoping the Jasmine Throne would have it because I'm really wanting to read that one next. Nope, that one doesn't have it, that one doesn't have it. This one, maybe? Nope, no moon. No moon! Okay, let's go to my arcs that have been published and look at them really quickly. Only one that has been published that I received as an arc that I haven't read yet that does have a moon is Son of the Storm, but it's really long and I have to physically read it. So I think I'm gonna stick, oh, whoa, these words are really small too. Whoa. 374 pages, but the words are so small on every single page. It'd almost be worth it to read Son of the Storm instead. Okay, I'm gonna put Son of the Storm for moon on the cover because even though it's a lot longer, oh my god, it's like 200 pages longer, I think it'll be easier to get through. Plus, it's an arc, so I need to read it and I need to give my opinion on it since it's already been published. I feel horrible that I haven't done it already. So yes, we're gonna add Son of the Storm on to my TBR. So this is a story, once again, I'm going to be reading to you to make sure that I get it correctly. I believe it's a debut story about a West African inspired fantasy realm setting, plot. No, that's not the word I wanted. Oh, cool. So Jen Lyons, I don't know how to say her name, the author of The River of Kings, which is a book I am currently reading and loving, blurbed it. So that makes me feel really good. So she says, everything I love in a fantasy novel. But what the plot says is, in the ancient city of Bassa, Danos is a clever scholar on the cusp of achieving greatness, only he doesn't want it. Instead, he prefers to chase forbidden stories about what lies outside the city walls. That sounds exciting. So, okay, I'm excited I chose that over this now. Let me go put this back. Okay, so what's the final one I can do? Out of my comfort zone. Let's go look at my arcs, because I get a lot of those, and they tend to be out of my comfort zone more than anything else. Like, I'm not gonna buy for myself something that's like really far out of my comfort zone. So let's look at my arcs and see what I think will fit that best. Dude, there's not a single book on my TBR that I own or has been given to me that is out of my comfort zone. All of them are either fantasy, magical realism, or thriller. So I think we're gonna have to just redraw for that prompt instead of me cheating and trying to force something. Let's just be good and let's just switch it out for something else. So in case you're curious, I have had to switch things in the past before because I haven't owned a book that's fit it, but I've never included it as part of the video because I don't show you guys all of the behind the scenes. So this is something that you would get to see if I keep doing this chaotic version. We'll see how much I like it. It might be too much for even me. So I've been shuffling about half of the deck. So we're just gonna pick two. I'll pick one from this and one from the other half. So 2-word title, that's much more easy. I'm gonna stick it down here. 2-word title, let's see what I own. So I still need to hit From Blood and Ash and the Jasmine Throne onto my list for next month. That's what I'd really like to get on there. But I don't think, well, I know for a fact that neither of them have 2 words in their title. So let me go to my own shelf and see if anything there has it. And if not, we're redoing it. Seraphil's Hand does, but it's already picked for something else, so I'm not gonna remove it. Realm Breaker does, but I've already picked it, so it's not getting redone. Firekeeper's Daughter has 2, and that's the only one, so let me go get it. So Firekeeper's Daughter is the story. Oh, wait, is Firekeeper 1 word? Okay, here it's 3, here it's 2. What do I believe? Let's see if it's anywhere else where it's not split up. Oh, I can go to the copyright page and see. That'll tell me. It's not here. Henry Holt, For My Parents. Henry Holt's not their parents. Henry Holt is the publisher. Oh, that's weird. It's not there. That's really weird. It's not on the copyright page. It's 1 word on the spine, so we're gonna count it. I mean, Firekeeper is 1 word, so we're gonna count it. I'm gonna use it. I will tell you right now, I probably won't get to this book this month just because it is thick. I'm already like at my max of pages that I can read this month, but I really want to get to this book soon. I'm really excited about it, and I think that when I do get to it, I want to do it as a single vlog instead of a weekly vlog. So I am going to keep it on the list, but it might not be something I get to. So let me read to you the summary. 18-year-old Donis Fontaine has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe, I don't think I'm saying that correctly, reservation. She dreams of a fresh start at college, but when family tragedies strike, Daunis, I know I just said it before without having a hard time pronouncing it, so I don't know what's going on with me now, puts her future on hold to look after her fragile mother. The only bright spot in meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother's Levi's hockey team. Okay, I have to pause. I just realized I agreed to buddy read this a different month, and it wasn't this month. I think I'm gonna have to not pick this simply because I did promise someone I would read this a different month, and I don't want to backtrack on them. Okay, that means I don't own any books with 2 words? Yeah, that is what that means. Okay. We're gonna repick 2 words. Well, that was extremely awkward. So what's the next one instead? What does it say? Friend rec. Cool, so that's actually really easy. A book that a friend has recommended me to read, From Blood and Ash. So From Blood and Ash is the story of this girl named Poppy, and she is this maiden. And I'm not gonna go into total details about what maidens are because I have unfortunately watched a few spoiler vlogs, so I know more. But she is a maiden, which means that she is not allowed to partake in any like flesh. What is the exact word they use? Never to be touched, never to be looked upon, never to be spoken to, never to experience pleasure. Waiting for the day of her ascension, she would rather be with the guard, fighting back the evil that took her family, than preparing to be found worthy by the gods. But the choice has never been hers. I am really excited. It's a new adult fantasy romance. I'm really getting into new adult fantasy romance. If you guys know of more new adult fantasy romances, I've said the word way too many times, recommend them down below, please. Now this is even higher. Now I have to pick the final prompt. I'm gonna pick from the other stack this time, and I'm gonna go kind of in the middle, and here we go. What do we get? Gray cover. Well, let's double check that I own something with a gray cover before I put it on the board. A Court of Silver Flames, but that's already picked. Let's check my arcs. Oh my god, is this how it's going to be? I don't own enough books for this game anymore. I don't own a book with a gray cover, so we'll set that down. Let's just pick the next one on the top. What does that say? Polar setting. Okay. Do I own any that take place in cold settings? I think The Last Mortal Bond does, but I already picked that, so I'm not choosing it again. Nope, I don't. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is a fun game, isn't it? Well, that was way too close. Blue cover. I definitely own books with blue covers, so I'll stick this up here. And let's see. I'm gonna look through my arcs first and see if anything has a blue cover there. It's kind of more green than blue, so nothing there. Back to my owned not read shelf. And let's see what fits. Legacy of Steel fits, but I'm going to be reading that in July, so I'm not picking it for this. The Shattered Realm of Ardor Ben fits, but it is a sequel to a book that I haven't read yet, so I'm not picking it. The Icarsar Falcon. I need to read that because it's on my list for my book club's picks, so that'll be perfect. So this is the sequel to oh crap, what's the first one called? It's The Chronicles of the Bitch Queen is the series. The Wolf of Arn Yarrow. So the Icarsar Falcon is, I'm assuming, taking place right after the first book. I don't know the plot of the second book. I bought it because I loved the first book. What did I end up rating book 1? Oh, I ended up rating it 4.75 out of 5 stars, and I simply wrote something at the end just bothered me a little bit, so I couldn't rate it a full 5 stars. But this story is about a queen over a divided land, and she's kind of forced into this position of unifying her 2 peoples, and it is divided because her ex-husband left her for certain reasons, and so he's kind of taken over the rulership of one side and she's kind of left with the other. And what really fascinated me about this the first time I read the book is that it is a story about, it's a fantasy story about a mom, and I absolutely love that. I think it's so great and fantastic to read. Okay, so that's it. Wasn't able to fit all of the books from my reading challenge that I have with my book club. The only one that I couldn't make work was Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, so I'm hoping I can just make that work for one of the prompts that hasn't been flipped yet, and that would make me really happy. Oh my god, editing Amanda here. I forgot to put any of Series of Unfortunate Events onto my TBR. I am reading book 5, 6, 7, and 8 this month, and I just didn't put any of them on there. Well, they better fit some of the prompts I flip. I hope you liked this. We'll see how I liked it. It make editing a little bit easier. It might make it harder. I don't know. I'm excited to edit it now and see what happens. It was pretty chaotic, but now you get to see some of the behind the scenes of TBR Bingo, and This is my board for the month. I'm really excited to be reading it. And these are the physical books I own that I'm hoping to be reading this month. This is a lot of pages. I am concerned about that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me know down below what your TBR is looking like for the coming month of June. I'd love to talk to you about it. Let me know if we have any of the books in common. Oh, I just lost my light. Well, I just lost my light and it's not coming back, so we're gonna just face the window completely. Let me know if we have any books in common. I'd love to hear about your thoughts and opinions on them. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye.